So for the first music video, what we're going to do is I'm going to go over the directions here. We have a sample video of a 9/11. So if I open up this and I bring up the 9/11 video, this is a video I found online. The video itself, if you hand it in, would get you like C. First thing, the pictures, see how they just flip from one to the next? There's no smooth transitions. And the images just kind of sit there. They don't like zoom in, zoom out, move at all. They're just static. That's something you can improve on. The actual story is all over the place. I'll explain what I mean with the story in a little bit. But if you look, the towers were just up. Here the towers are definitely down and not too long because there's still dust. Here they're doing rescue, and it's obviously later because it's not dusty. Now this is a year afterwards. This is also a year later. And then in the very next image, it just happened. So the images for this are all over the place. Does it have to follow a set timeline? No, it does not. However, it looks like they took like 60 pictures, threw them on the floor, and said, good enough. Whatever order that was, that's fine. Now, you want to be able to tell a story with it. This could be a timeline story. They very easily could have done the towers, before they were hit, the towers right after they were hit, and then a year later and the rebuilding of the towers. That would have been a timeline. Or they could have just focused on towers prior or towers with rebuilding, whatever they wanted. It could have been much cleaner with this. Now, the reason I say it's a storyboard is because, a story is because of storyboards. When we get into this, we're going to be doing some video production. We're also going to do music production and stuff and sound production. Well, the video production, they use storyboards. Every time a camera angle changes, it's what's called a new storyboard. When they started off with television, guys, there was one storyboard. It kind of looked like a stage. They put the camera up and people walked on the screen, they walked off the screen. They walked on the screen, they walked off the screen whenever they were done their parts. And it was kind of like watching a production in the auditorium. Nowadays, just think of a conversation between two people. Every single time a person's talking, it switches camera angles. One conversation could have 30 storyboards alone. They don't even back the camera angle up to show both people talking at once. They show each person face to face. You get into a professional movie like Hunger Games and stuff like that, guys, you're talking 16 to 17,000 storyboards just for one movie. So we're going to be using static images for ours, so the storyboard is going to be a little bit easier. Now, I have another video here. This is the Veterans Day video. With the Veterans Day video, this story was soldiers and kids or soldiers doing humanitarian work. Now, mine had to be an exact length, so every now and then I just added pictures that I thought were cool. But the majority are soldiers and kids. This is just what I thought was a cool picture. Or soldiers doing humanitarian work, giving out water. The next image, they're actually helping to rescue people, things like that. So that is it. Now notice with the images, all these images here, guys, they don't just sit. They're all moving. The images zoom in and out. The transitions, you got transitions. They fade from one to the next. It's just not a quick snap and so on. That's what I'm looking for from you guys. I expect you guys to do better than what was found on the internet. So, what we're going to be doing is you must tell a story. Your story, guys, for this class, since your first marking period, your story is going to be either Veterans Day or any branch of the armed services. Okay, Army, Navy, Marines, anything like that. The other marking periods, we're going to end up with topics that we're going to be choosing as a class that have to deal with subjects they've gone over. But first marking period, you guys do Veterans Day or something with the military. You are going to get at least 20 images for your video. Yes, you are allowed more, but at least 20. You're going to not use guns if it's a war topic. People say, well, how can you do that? If I'm doing the Marines, they have to have guns. No, they don't. That video that I started to show you with the kids and stuff, there were 70-some images in that. Out of all 70 images, I had one gun. And that was with a soldier, a dog, and a tank behind them. Okay? Yes, you can decide to do tanks. That's fine. The tanks can't be firing. If you decide you're going to do the Air Force and you're doing all jets, that's fine. They might have weapons on them. They cannot be firing. Because you can't get rid of those things. All right, but no guns. You're going to be using Google Images. You all sign the appropriate use web form. You may not have signed it this year, but you have signed it, meaning that you're going to use the web appropriately. Now, the school has great filters. However, if an inappropriate image pops up, very quickly move on. The worst thing you can do, try to get somebody else to look at it. If you do that, then you get yourself in trouble. And I'll give you an example. I had somebody one time that had 3 soldiers. All 3 soldiers were standing there. They were all holding a beer. Is that appropriate? Not for school. Is it appropriate when you leave school? That's for you to decide. But it's definitely not appropriate during school. So that's when you just move on and not get yourself in trouble. Now, I say be specific in your search, because if you just put in U.S. Navy, you're going to have so many pictures and everything. Be specific, like U.S. Navy, I want a battleship, I want it during the day, I want it in the dock, and I want a soldier saluting the flag. That's pretty specific. That's going to get you the pictures you wanted. Make sure you always start off with U.S. I had somebody do the Coast Guard, and out of their images, they had 3 images that were of the Canadian Coast Guard. One of them had the Canadian flag painted on the side. So please make sure that you're typing U.S. always. And be smart. Do not type in U.S. Marine during training, no gun. Okay, you just type the word gun or guns into the school computers. Guess what? They're going to take notice of that. The next thing you know, my phone will ring, I'll get an email, the principal will walk in, guidance counselors will walk in, and everything else because you typed the word guns into a search engine. Okay, you actually typed no guns, but guess what they don't see? They don't see the word no. So please, don't type in like explosions, no guns, no explosions, no weapons. Don't type that stuff in on the search engine. Just type in what you want, and if they have a gun, don't use it. So be smart. Now I say save your images into your piano folder. Guys, in your piano folder, first make a folder that is for your first music video. Because you're going to have at least 20 pictures. You're going to have a McCaffrey project. You're going to have a movie project. You're going to have an MP3 of your music. You're going to have the final movie of the movie. All these different things are going to clutter up your folder. So instead, make a separate folder for your first music video. We're going to be using Movie Maker for this project. Mixcraft 7 is going to be the music, and later on I'll explain how the music affects what you watch. Other classes in other marking periods will choose 3 to 4 topics, and what I want to do now is demo the first part of the Movie Maker. So, let's pretend you went on to the internet, you got your pictures. I wanted to show you. You hit the start menu, you go to your apps, and you scroll down till you see Movie Maker. You open it. It'll show the preview on the left side. On the right-hand side, guys, this is your storyboard. You go get your folders of videos and pictures. Well, we're going to use these still pictures to start. I'm going to select it, go through the different steps, this PC and so on, until you find your images. Once you find your images, you're going to select your images, highlight them, and open them and insert them. Now, this is your storyboard. Now, let's say I wanted this picture to be up here. All right, go ahead and move it. Move this one down. Move things around to where you wanted things to be. That's completely fine. Notice some of them have preset words in them. Well, we don't want that, so we're just going to remove them. So we don't have the name of the picture with it. Now, if it's a set timeline, you're kind of limited. Otherwise, you can change however you want. The next thing we need to do is it defaults at 7 seconds. That's a little long. So I hit the first picture, and then I hold the shift button. I go to my last one, and while holding shift, I click it. Now I just selected all the pictures, and I'm going to go to my edit, and I'm going to change the duration of each picture from 7 seconds to 5. That is a good distance for the pictures. 5 seconds is what we want to start off with. Now, having said that, though, certain images you're going to want to last longer. This picture here with the soldier and the dog jumping out, that's pretty self-explanatory, isn't it? However, you open this one up, there's a lot going on, isn't there? If you have an image with a bunch of detail, make that one last longer. 6 seconds, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever you want. Once you do that, The other way you want to have an image last longer is if there's any type of text. If there's text, you need to make it last longer. You've all watched movies. A video pops up with words, disappears before you're done. It gets annoying. So you need to take anything with words and make that last longer also. Now that you're done with the duration, we can go back home. We're not going to do an auto movie. We're going to put in a title. All right, so we put a title in here at the beginning. It's Oklahoma City. That's weird. But we type in Oklahoma City, blah, blah, blah. Add that to it, and that becomes our title. Now, we also need credits, so we can go down here to the end, and we're going to put in some sort of credits. If you want, after the credits, if you wanted, like right here, you wanted to put a caption in, you can actually put the caption. Type in what you wanted, move it wherever you want, like, oh, no, I want it up here, because that way it's in the word. I can't see it from there, so I'm going to change the color. Oh, I want it to be red so I can read it. The other thing with the text, once you put the text in, you can change how it comes in. You can have it spin in. You can have it do there. There's all kinds of different stuff you can have. Oh, I want it to come in from all different angles. That's fine. Once you do that, we're going to go to the animations. So now we're set to go into the animations. With the animations, guys, this is what's going to make our pictures not just sit there. So we choose the different animations that we want. Now with this picture, the most important part is the right-hand side. So you might want to zoom in on that part of the picture. So maybe I would choose something like this that zooms in to that part of the picture, but it doesn't go far enough. So instead, what if I chose something that is going to zoom in from a set spot so we see it better? Maybe I choose where it's from and zoom to the left. Make sure the most important part is there. Once you choose it, it shows up as a little part up top here. Tells you what your pan and zoom is. Next thing is to go into our transitions. Again, the most important part of the picture is on the right-hand side. So when I choose my transitions, I'm going to want to look for something that shows the right-hand side first. So if I choose something like, well, let's choose something like this one that starts on the left, that doesn't make any sense, does it? If I choose something that starts on the right, shows me the dog first. That's a good one. Now I got my transitions in there. The reason we started off with 5 seconds, guys, 5 seconds is good because 1 second transitions in, 1 second transitions out. You have 3 seconds to see your picture. That's good. But let's say you want your transition to be different. I don't want it to last for a second and a half. I want it to be real quick. Now, once we get there, my transition is going to go very, very quickly. So then, zip. Or you can make it take its time. I don't know, 2 minutes. I want the transition to be very slow. So your transition goes slowly. It's up to you. But if you change this, you got to change the length of your picture. Do not apply to all because not all pictures are going to zoom or pan the way you want. You may go into visual effects and change some of your effects and stuff for each picture. But again, make sure it's easy to see. Once you get done all that, okay, you get done all the different steps that you want. You got your title at the beginning, you got your transitions, you got everything the way you want. The next thing we're going to be doing is adding our music. In order to get our music, we're going to be doing it in Mixcraft. So this is the introduction to the first part of our video.